Chef might join us as we go. So, what we got? Number one, onboarding process. Wanted to talk about frequency, talk about Xylo. This your ideas in this bucket. You and Mystic, and then you guys can talk to us about the whole weekly onboarding thing y'all have been doing in Frontier and how you feel like that's going. So, how's it going?
Mystic, do you want to start off?
You go ahead.
Okay. Over the last couple of weeks, we've started a sort of promo or prototype way of doing onboarding. I know in the past, like way early on, we were doing some sessions. I think Mike Peluso generally did one. But we've tried to kind of hammer down on like a specifically scheduled time and day for onboarding to kind of funnel in people and stop a little bit of time that gets wasted when people who don't say that they're going to show up don't show up, but also kind of streamlines the discussion. It's a whole lot easier to read out the rules and the different things that we're doing to like 5 different people than to spend different time slots that could take up to like 30 minutes for several people, so it saves a lot of time, but it also gives us the opportunity to catch people who have kind of slipped through the cracks. It's been pretty successful in my opinion, in twofold. One, it's increased the number of people that we've actually gotten onboarded, and two, it's done what it's needed to do in regards to saving time for those of us who are participating in the onboarding process. We're really hoping to see this expand a little bit more into all of the families and get everyone involved in this. That way we can kind of target not just people who are within our own realms, for example, Man Mystic within the frontiers, but if anyone pops up with an onboarding ticket, anyone who has experience within the system can do so. And it also lets us within the family staff kind of engage with each other. So, like, the idea is that we want to find a date and a time that works for everyone. And we start kind of doing it as a whole of OG instead of just, separate families. Mystic, did you want to add anything to that?
Just that I think that it also, besides being a way for us to get through people a little more efficiently, it also gives like a set day, set time, gets people into that mindset of, oh, I'm going to be doing this on a weekly basis. I'm going to be showing up. I'm going to be playing with people to try and get them into that crew mindset already.
Yeah, I don't know if y'all have, everybody here's skimmed through some of the onboarding tickets we have open, but I mean, it definitely does create a different dynamic in the ticket, like a positive dynamic of, hey, person A, we're going to meet at Friday at 7. You should join us at Friday at 7. If you can't, meet us at this day and time, you propose a different day and time, because negotiating the day and time was always like the first 30 replies of a ticket. So this is, here's your option, propose something else. It's definitely been a little more effective, I think, in scheduling anyway.
Just out of curiosity, I have a quick question.
Yeah.
What if you guys had to put like an average time span on each member that you're spending time with? What would you say that how much time do you think you're spending onboarding versus actual playing versus how much time do they hang out with you after that process is done? Because that's really the important statistic we should look at is, yes, we came in, onboarded, but how long did they stay and hang with you after? If you
Are you asking about the current process that we're promoting, or
the current way you guys are doing it?
So, and Mystic can weigh in on this, and everyone else who's doing onboardings. I always dedicated at least 30 minutes to each person. If it's, you know, because a lot of times it's just one person that's kind of siphoning in throughout the hour, 1-2 people. Every once in a while we'll have like a large number of people, and we go over the rules and then kind of spread out from there. But I can tell you that most of the onboardings that I do, I spend the first probably 10 minutes getting to know the person and asking them about their games or whatever. Now, obviously, if you have multiple people, yeah, and if you have multiple people there at the same time, you know, you switch it up and you try to say, hey, we're going to spend time kind of getting to know you afterwards. Let's go ahead and take care of the part that everyone needs to hear, which is the rules, the onboarding list that we have. But I mean, generally, a person's getting about 30 minutes to 45 minutes of engagement, I would argue. Mystic, would you disagree with that?
I'd say that's probably about right, like, numerically. Right now, IMHO, the breakdown is roughly 100% like onboarding, 0% everything else. But that's what we're working towards, kind of moving away from to try with this new setup. We want to try and get, ideally, what the goal would be is from, for the first hour, we're going to put that as the hour that, people should be showing up for the onboarding. We do the mass onboarding, cover all of the important key factors, your rules, your expectations, and then for the remainder of that time, get to know the people on more of a personal level, figure out what games they're looking to play, what they think they'd look to play in a crew as, and then maybe also play some games with them right then and there, and then lead into an hour of essentially game night that would be open to all of Omni, so that those new people, the new blood, can come in and get the experience of playing with other people that are already in the community.
That's awesome. Just quick follow up, right? I think that there's two different experiences from somebody who is new to this community, right? There's an experience where we sit in a voice chat and we talk about rules and regulations for 30 minutes, and then that dude dips, right? And that's probably not a great experience. I'm glad to know that you guys are getting to know people, following up, right? And then the other thing I would love, just out of just pure curiosity, I'd like to know the success rate. How many people are you spending? Is the juice worth the squeeze, right? We're spending hours, and what's our success rate? Are we retaining 50%? Are they going on to do great things? And I'm sure we could probably track that. So I'm glad to hear that you guys are getting to know people, following up, and then leading them into the game night, leading them into a crew. That's what's key about that. Love that process. I just love to see some stats on it.
And we've only been doing it for the last 3 weeks so far, so we don't have a sizable sample to be able to pull from just yet, but that is one of the things that I would like to keep track of as well, just to see, like, if we can't get more people in and actually active that way. Because I think one of the key aspects of someone joining the community, if you go through onboarding and then immediately you're just like, oh, okay, I don't have a crew for you yet, or, oh, okay, you'll be in this crew, and then you're waiting 3-4 days before the crew plays and there's no engagement. If you have that immediate engagement with them and say, hey, we're going to spend the next hour playing, I don't know, the drawing game on Discord, or we're going to spend the next hour playing some Jackbox games, or does everybody have Among Us? Does everybody have, whatever it is, like whatever the game that we're playing, just getting to sit there to play games with people, to interact with people, that's what I'm trying to push for.
And that's what
the new blood coming in.
And that's what I want to unpack. Xylo and Mystic and I have spent quite a bit of time talking about this. But before we move on to the second part of expanding onboarding and creating this community game night or whatever. Enigma Gaming Chef, how do y'all feel about your family's setting up some kind of, I don't know what the schedule would be, you would probably define that, but some scheduled time. And of course, if there's no, yeah. How do you feel about setting up a scheduled time for onboarding?
Speaking for Battlefield, we are not getting enough applicants interested in Battlefield. I feel like if we set a scheduled time, it wouldn't be productive at this point right now.
Well, that is one key. Let's talk about that. You have your own families. Y'all can onboard each other's people. There shouldn't be any super magical thing that any of y'all are doing that. I mean, of course, maybe there's one in Battlefield and two in COD. There's not some magical, well, I got to figure out which of these 50 crews I'm putting somebody in. We should have enough of a summary that if you're playing Overwatch, you're going to Talon. That's it, right? So, is that a big barrier where there's something preventing y'all from onboarding each other's people?
Not on my end.
Yeah, I don't see a barrier. I don't know. I just intuitively felt like, oh, if I see Battlefield, I'll take Battlefield. If I see not Battlefield, someone else will take that. But I mean, I don't have a problem with it. I mean, the only thing I can't do is answer questions that are family specific, which I do often get in my experience. And I'll just tell them, you know, you're gonna have to talk to leadership over there when you get settled. But apart from that, I don't see it being a big deal.
That's fair.
Can I weigh in on that?
Yeah.
So the idea is that if we set up a scheduled time that's spread out across the entirety of OG, ideally we have somebody within Frontiers and somebody within Battlefield or Call of Duty that can answer those questions present. So, like, it's not just one person that's hosting this. The idea is that we're trying to get as many of us in there as possible, and then we can kind of just, barrel through the onboardings as they come. And the person who has, like, the niche knowledge regarding Call of Duty or Marvel Rivals can provide insight as needed. Right, and we can rotate through, like, maybe a main speaker that deals with it, and then other people are kind of just the source knowledge. Every week, someone else could be the primary speaker or whatever. That was an idea that was thrown out. But it generally allows us, as family staff, to work together as a whole to tackle this issue, and kind of bring all of our knowledge together. Does that make sense?
I have a quick question. Are you guys conducting these sessions at peak times?
Right now it's just been 7 p.m. Eastern Fridays, but and that's another concern of mine of just do all of our family staff, current and future, are they going to be, how are we going to work the schedule? But
I'm not in love with that time only because 7 p.m. Friday nights, I mean, people are still pretty much out with family. Maybe they just finished dinner. Maybe some guys are going out to the club scene. I would actually push it. I think you might have more success on a weekday at 7 p.m.
So the time frame that we currently use is just what would work for Mystic and me at the time. The time frame is negotiable.
Okay. Yeah.
It was basically. Now, again, the other reason behind doing it this way is to eliminate excessive time in onboarding. I can tell you that one of the statistics that you talked about, like, that has been like a success, is the reduction in how much time is wasted just standing around in a room. I can tell you that, like, hours a week are saved doing it this way, particularly for me and Mystic, who have people spread out throughout multiple games, and so that's something to consider also. Excuse me.
I think something, and it's worth noting, if we could get it to be family specific, right? What we could do is, like, an hour before the session, and that way you could lean right into getting them into a group right away. But it's just an idea, food for thought.
That's easier for the Battlefield and COD people, but obviously Frontier, they have...
Frontier may be different, yeah.
When you say an hour before the session, what do you mean?
Like an hour before you guys meet up to, if Xylo's playing Destiny, and you're like, hey, we're going to raid at 7. Meet at 6:30. Do your onboarding at 6:30. Announce it out.
Yeah,
but that would be great for people to track, right?
Well, that would be great if we knew for a fact that people were coming for those specific games, but especially the Frontier... Exactly. There have been times where someone listed a game on their onboarding, and then when we actually talk to them, they end up being a completely different game that they're like, oh yeah, I'll totally go for a crew for that game instead, because that sounds great.
Yeah, I didn't think about that. That's a good point.
Well,
yeah. I guess Frontier is going to kind of be rough with that.
But for COD and Battlefield, what are y'all feeling? Like, what is the path forward for your onboarding? I'd be fine if you just wanted to schedule something for Battlefield.
Quick, easy and simple. As soon as I see somebody with COD, I give them a message, get going with them, and bam. While I'm talking with them about first few questions, always about COD, what they like to do and stuff. As they're telling me what they like to do, I'm already game planning where I'm putting them and who I need to reach out to let leadership know, hey, incoming a new guy. I mean, I try to get it done as quick and as painless as possible. And I always let them know when the next session is. And I also tell them that, once you get into a crew and stuff like that, let them know when you're on. Give them your gamer tag, push your gamer tag up in there, and on that standpoint, we haven't had an issue. The biggest COD issue is attendance.
Fair enough.
So, can I have a question regarding that?
Yeah.
How do we streamline that process specifically for you in Call of Duty? For example, if we're hosting these general onboarding sessions and a Call of Duty player hops in and decides to participate, like there's certain processes that you're doing that I may not be familiar with. So how are we going to streamline that and ensure that, one, that member gets placed in the correct area, and we understand like your extra steps that you have regarding like your the family of Call of Duty? Because I don't see that written down anywhere. I don't know what your questions are regarding, like maybe there's a battle tag that you need from them, things like that. And I can reference people that have said that, like, hey, they want to be within a game in Frontiers, and then suddenly they said, well, I'm more interested in Call of Duty. Like, I would like to be able to take care of that person at that moment instead of stringing the process along, hours.
Okay, I mean, the easiest, simplest way to do it, just let them know that our sessions are Wednesdays and Sundays, 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. Eastern. And if they're good with that and stuff like that, just go ahead and give them the Conquest Colombo tag and go to our chat, because I'm pretty sure you have access to it, and just at COD Colombo, please welcome at yada yada yada. And once you're done with that, you're done. You can tag me right below it, so then I can continue on with it, because I'm always on Discord. I mean, if you look over and somebody over on your side or something that looks like COD, just at me. I mean, that's the easiest way, because I wouldn't be afraid to bet. Well, like this morning, as soon as I turn my PC on, Discord shows up. I'm online. I'm online, so I shut my PC off. Now, unless I'm out with my family or something like that, I got it on my cell phone. It might take me a little longer to reply, but I'll say, hey, I'm out with my family, be back in front of my PC in an hour or whatnot. And you can just say, well, I'm going to go ahead and put this guy over in Colombo. I'm fine with that, and I'll go from there with it. I mean, I try to keep it streamlined and simple for COD, because there's other things that have to be taken care of, and the onboarding process for COD is, I've streamlined it to the point where I can do it in-game or in the voice chat on the Discord.
So, go ahead.
It's very, I don't know, it's, for me it's very simple because I just deal with one game, whereas Frontier deals with multiple, so the way I streamline it probably won't work for Frontier because there's just way too many avenues or games.
Well, it helps to know that you have basically a landing pad squad that we can put people in. So that's pretty important. So that basically answers my question.
Here soon, I'm going to be opening up Warzone crew, but in the same token, Colombo is always going to be the landing pad crew, and you land them there. Just even if they want to play Warzone, put them in Colombo. If they want to play zombies, put them in Colombo. If they want to play multiplayer rank, put them in Colombo, and I'll take it from there.
Okay. Now, I mean, so their vision of expanding this into a community game night where we invite everybody to play, but specific. So they have a couple challenges where perpetually people say they want to play Fortnite. We must have 20 people join that say they want to play Fortnite, but it's one at a time. And by the time we go back and say, hey, other 10 people who want to play Fortnite, do you want to make a Fortnite crew? So rather than just throwing people in pending assignment where they have no crew, they actually want to create this pseudo crew of, the people who need to be onboarded and those who have been onboarded and don't have a home, and kind of create an environment where they can play stuff. I have had an infinite number of questions about that. If I joined to play Escape from Tarkov, I'm not necessarily wanting to sit and play Jackbox with you, especially if that's going to be my session for a couple of weeks while you find another EFT player. But I don't know, there's a lot of merit to it. Maybe we could talk through some of that and then see if Battlefield and Call of Duty fit into helping that kind of initiative, if you guys would be willing to set something up once a week, once every 2 weeks, or whatever.
Just, if you got doing a think tank for it or something like that, I'm all in. I mean, I'll work through whatever needs to be worked through to make it happen.
Do you want
I'm gonna hit you and Enigma up after the meeting. I would love to set up more regular, like even if it's just like a half an hour every month, just the family staff get together just to discuss this kind of stuff and see if there's any way that we could be helping each other out more, or if there's anything that we could be doing more efficiently, so that we can just share and communicate and grow grow together, game together.
Okay. Well, then we'll leave that there unless somebody has more comments on it. It doesn't sound like we have anything super definitive just yet. I'll let you all continue to discuss until we're ready to commit in one direction or another. Right? Okay. So the next topic is the bot, and killing it. Oh my goodness. So we have the most recent module takes when somebody joins the server, it'll DM them, and it's like day 1, day 4, day 8, day 15, day 22, and day 28. And then on day 30, after sending all of the messages, it will say, hey, look, well, on 28, it'll say, hey, look, if you don't reply or open a ticket in the next 2 days, we're going to remove the pending onboarding role and move you to guest. So all of that is in place. It's automated. Y'all can see in the moderator log, it's been sending these messages. So there's been some people, though, that are in pending onboarding for like 700 days. And we've actually seen 3 of those people come out of inactivity and open tickets, which has been really cool to see. But you guys don't have to worry about removing pending onboarding. You don't have to worry about at onboarding, hey, please open a ticket. The DMs have been pretty successful. Y'all can see all of those in the moderator-only channel. Anytime a DM goes out, it gets posted there. What else? So the next thing I'm going to want to do, which is kind of sort of working, is tracking a successful recruit. So I think that we want to define a successful recruit as somebody who joins the Discord, is onboarded, is assigned to a crew, and then attends one crew successfully. So the bot currently tracks that and puts them in a table that says successful recruit. And the other thing it does is if you invite me, it'll, in theory, try to say, yes, typical invited hobo, or whatever. And so we can track refers. Now, it's not a dead science because there's not an API call that just says this person invited that person. It's actually looking at the invite links and when they increment in relation to somebody joining. It can kind of tell, okay, Hobo's invite counter went up by 1 at the same time that this person joined the Discord, so they probably invited them. So there's also an administrative function where, family, staff, and above can just say /refer, toxic recruited Delta Mill or whatever, and we can assign that. The last option is, in fact, if Delta went and said, okay, no, I recruited this person, Mibs, and he could apply that command. Anybody in the Discord could apply it, and it'll send a direct message to the person they say they recruited, and that person can say yes or no. So those are kind of the 3 avenues. I need to unpack that a little more, but those 3 avenues, how do y'all feel about that? If somebody says they recruited somebody and the person who they said they recruited hits yes, can we trust that? Is that?
I guess a vetting
Yep.
system.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess I missed what is the point of this? I'm sorry.
At the end of the day, I'd like to actually offer a financial reward for recruiting. So we spend a certain amount of money per recruit in advertising. And so I don't want to get into all the financials, but let's just say there is a cost of X to run the ad, and based on the percentage of people that click through, and then the sub percentage of that actually open a ticket, and the sub percentage of that after they open a ticket are onboarded, and the sub percentage of that actually make it into a crew and show up to a session, you lose people at each stage, right? And so there's a decent cost to that when you translate it down to that level. So it would be much cheaper if I just said, okay, I will give y'all $5 a recruit for anybody you get through the successful recruit status, which means through onboarding, and they actually show up. And so you go recruit 100 people, here's $500. Great, awesome. You just saved us a bunch of money.
How would you know because someone brought up in the chat earlier, the ads that they've seen on Instagram and such, people are not responding to, but if someone did find this ad on Instagram and then somebody responded to them, then technically pay for the ad to be on Instagram, and then you also, if they put that person's name down, you're paying them as well. If that makes any sense.
Yeah, I think that's a pretty edge case. But
Okay.
if we're not replying to them and somebody else is, and in such a way that they actually got us the recruit that we wouldn't have, then fine, great.
I think to avoid some of the stuff that Swear just referenced, you'd want to use some kind of recruit code or something to tie the 2 together. I do know that the ads are working. We've had a lot of people in onboarding come through and say that they saw us on, I don't know, Instagram, but in random places that you're posting these ads.
Mm-hmm.
I I'm always on the line of, like, the community should want to bring people in because they're having fun. They shouldn't necessarily have to have a monetary, like, incentive. But I also see, like, where you're coming from, and like it gives some people more initiative to do it. Which is to make sure people don't get in the system, like Square was saying.
Right. That is
My-
the key. Go ahead.
My question would be, what is the end goal of this? Are you saying that you want to offer some type of financial compensation so that it pushes people to recruit? Or are you saying that you want to give them some type of reward for recruiting?
I mean, we want
Because
to.
one of them pushes the like make recruitment, and that is the one that more readily opens it up for let's say less than dealt in the sunlight type of situations, whereas the other one is more of just we're just giving you like a little boon for being the person who did recruit this person. But in both cases, you tell me what your end goal of it is.
Ideally the first one, right? Most people are not going to care. And then there's going to be a subset of people that are like, wait, I can make money doing this. And ideally they go out and they get 10, 15, 30 people. And we compensate them for that because it's quite a bit of work. And ultimately, if they're successful, that is a financial savings to us in terms of cost of acquisition.
I feel like it's a good idea on paper. I don't know how it would play out in actuality, like in practice, but I mean, I'm open to the discussion of how we would do it. I don't know how we would implement it, but that's not the side of the business that I deal with, and so I don't know.
I've always believed that recruiting is a symptom, not the cause, right? So if we want to be successful recruiting, if we want to push people to recruit, the financial incentive is nice, but we've got to have active members ready to play. So I would lean into, what would you guys think of maybe incentivizing activity or attendance, and then let recruiting become a symptom of that?
I mean, I can't pay people to go to session.
Yeah, sure. I get it. No, but I mean, like, we could figure something out, right? Like, let's say somebody attends 10 sessions in a row. It's probably worth $20. They've likely gained 4 or 5 recruits from that time. 10 sessions in a row, let's say they're meeting once a week or twice a week. That's a significant amount of time, right? With no attendance misses.
I mean, in that term, we should be using awards and stuff. I don't.
Sure.
Just from a business model standpoint, I don't know that I can quantify. Like, at least with customer acquisition, I can quantify how much that currently costs us. And if once we get to a certain membership level, we can translate that to the percentage of people that choose to donate. And we would obviously keep our expenditure even or in the positive, right? We're making more money than we're spending at some point.
Hang on here. Let me poll the room here real quick. I'm definitely not trying to shoot holes in anyone's argument, but just brainstorm with me here for a minute. Indulge me.
Sure.
Let's say you guys are meeting once a week, and I'm gonna keep relying on this. You're meeting once a week to raid, right? If you have somebody that has raided with you 10 times in a row, what do you think the chances are that they've brought 1 or 2 members in? That's 10 weeks. So somebody who's been reliably playing with you guys for 2.5 months, what do you think the chances are that they've brought 1 or 2 of their friends along? Mystic, what do you think? Do you think that chance is low? High?
Right now, low.
Low? Zion, do you agree?
I think it depends on the game. I have not seen 10 people raid, so it's really hard for me to
No, I mean 10 sessions in a row. Like 2.5 months. They've been playing for 2.5 months. What do you think the probability that they've at least brought 1 or 2 of their friends in?
I would argue that one of the reasons that people are kind of coming to Omni and coming to a gaming community in general is because they don't have people to play with. I mean, I know that when I first joined my first gaming community, the previous gaming community, it was mainly because I had a group of friends that I played a game with. Rest in peace. It will forever be remembered. And they stopped playing that game, and so I was actually looking for people to play with because I didn't have anyone to play with. And even if I had, I've told plenty of my friends IRL about Omni and everything, but I've brought one person IRL into Omni, and they're not active at all. They just came here. So I'm sure that is a possibility. I just don't know right now that's what's happening.
I would back that up and say that, like, with the exception of probably Minecraft, because there's one or two people who have come in with the Minecraft session, like most of the people like most of the people who have done onboarding have said that they're looking for a community to meet people. Like,
Alright, I'm just establishing a trend here. Let's get Gaming Chef. You got a guy, you recruited him today from a public lobby, and for 2.5 months, he plays all the time with you guys. I mean, all the time. The chance is high or low that he brings a friend with him, eventually.
Low.
Low. Alright, so all three of you guys, Enigma, same question.
You know, COD. Come on now.
Come on,
You know how that works.
Hang on, I'm getting to the meeting part here, right? Enigma, same question to you. You recruit somebody today, and he plays with you for 2.5 months straight. You and everybody in your crew, right? What are the chances that he brings a friend? High or low?
I'm answering based on actual data, and my answer is 0.
Damn.
Alright. All three of those have one thing in common. Are you guys in your sessions? Are you guys having fun, doing what you went out to accomplish? Are you engaging? I mean, is this something that keeps bringing people back? I mean, that's a question, right? I'm not shooting at any of you guys. I'm asking.
I'll chime in here. So, I think, speaking of Battlefield specifically, we've got a lot of people here who are here because they know each other and it's been an established relationship for a long time. I think a lot of our players are really committed to each other, maybe even more so than they are committed to the game. I don't know if that's a good or bad thing, but the game's been out for almost 4 years.
Right.
People
people trying Battlefield.
People are tired, right? And we're really ready. We're ready for the next release whenever that'll come out. So, I mean, we got that going on. So I think people are enjoying their time together. Whether or not they're enjoying the game sort of depends on the day. The other thing is that a lot of our players, they have families, they're busy, they don't really have their only friends that they're playing Battlefield with are already here in Omni. And a lot of the times, at least for our Battlefield players, Battlefield is all they play. So, you know, I think they're here for the camaraderie in the community, and I think they're not gamers in the typical sense of people who like make it a real hobby and spend hours and hours and hours playing certain games.
I'd say out of every 5 people you recruit, only one of them is really, and this is a statistic that I made up out of the University of Typical Vet. Out of every 5, right? Out of every 5, you get one that's serious. You get one that's super serious. And sometimes recruiting ends up being that where you're just throwing things against the wall and you're seeing what sticks.
Like, I'd like to add to kind of what Enigma was saying, like, particularly in like Frontiers, like, there's people who are interested in games. It's just there's games that we don't support. Like,
yeah,
I can, it's really hard to pull from a statistic like that, or like from a prompt that you're proposing in like such a a large sandbox that like Frontiers faces, right? It's one of the things that like when you're focusing down on one game, like you generally have a captive audience. It's a little bit easier to deal with that.
We're too multi-focused?
I don't think we're too multi-focused. I think we just need to provide places for people to be engaged in,
Okay.
like we should focus more on people being involved in the community and less so on just the specific game, and that helps approach, like for example, an old game where people are getting tired. Like we still want people to be a part of Omni even when the games start dying down, and then provide opportunities for them to maybe dip their toes in the water elsewhere, you know what I mean, while they're waiting.
Sure. But I think the statistic I want to focus on is I just asked four leaders, right? Hey, if you recruited a new guy today, 2.5 months from now, are they bringing a friend? You all said no. And I want to go back to that 1 out of every 5, right? That's the one we want. That's the one we want for leadership opportunity, because if we can get more of those, this community will build itself.
How do you ask
How do you
someone?
find that guy, right?
Well,
How do you find that one
and my
person?
question is like if all of our people are coming here looking for friends,
Yeah.
that means that they don't have people to bring in, right?
Yeah.
That's my main thought too. Like, I feel like people mainly come to a gaming community looking for people to build that friendship with, rather than because they have friends and are looking to expand. It would be a wonderful world. It would be a wonderful world if everybody had massive groups of friends that they all play games with, and then they're all also joining all these different gaming groups to expand that circle of friends and games and everything. I just don't think that's where we are to be able to make that idea a reality. Like, I would love to be able to say, yes, we recruited, John Doe this month on the 5th, and by August, 12th, we're going to have another 1 or 2 people that he has gone out and said, hey, I'm part of this group, you should come join it, we have fun. I just don't know.
So how do we get there? How do we get there to... Because there's...
I am a psychologist. I can't make these people make friends outside of the game.
Yeah, so... but there is a way. I mean, right? There is a way. How do we get there? Because... recruiting is contagious, right?
I think there's
that mindset, that... What's that?
I know that... Sorry.
I was going to say, I think there's just a breaking point where things get easier. You guys have been in leadership in different communities for many years, and it's actually way more difficult to lead a group, like one of our families with 2 crews, than it is to lead one with 10, right? So once you get established enough, once you have 1 crew for each major game, it actually becomes easier and easier and easier to grow, right? And so I think we've just got to invest into this until we get enough people where, you want to come play Fortnite? What time? Do you want to join the Tuesday or the Friday crew? But we just need more people to make it easier. And then, of course, it is contagious. When you have a place where you're having fun, if you have any friends, you should be... The organic growth comes. It's like, man, I'm having so much fun at this place. Why don't you come join? You could be playing with us every Thursday at 8 or whatever, right? So.
Yep. You guys aren't the only... I mean, when we get somebody that's new and they come in, and even if they love the crew that they're in, you're not the only ones they're playing with. Right?
Well,
Go ahead.
and I don't know if this is... I don't know if this was a topic that we had on the docket here, but I do know that there was a recommendation brought up about, like, some of us getting together and doing a stream and using that as, like, an outreach, where there's just a group of us who are playing and having fun. And I don't know if that's the solution to the problem that we're proposing right now, but I don't know.
I'm down. Play games, stream. Well, anybody
Hard
opposed?
subject, guys. Sorry.
No. Any of y'all opposed to this at least doing it on a trial basis and measuring some success of this $5 for a successful recruit. Which the biggest thing is I'm going to need y'all's help moderating, making sure people aren't cheating the system. I do have it set where there's an alert. So if you say, let's say, random person A said they recruit random person B, if they click no, this person didn't, that'll fire an alert, and we can investigate that and say, hey, are you you lying about this stuff? If you're trying to steal money, then probably a ban, right? But if we are rewarding people, I'm fine to put a little bit aside to support that program and just see if it is successful or not, right? And if it's not, then we go back to the drawing board.
I mean, I'm certainly willing to put time to test it out for you, but
The test.
What's the trial
I got a
period?
problem. Test running it would work. I mean, I still have my biggest question concerning all that. Let's just say somebody, Instagram, they get the ad, they click on the ad, they join the Discord. Nobody recruited them or
Okay.
anything like that. Then I assume the Instagram ad would get the $5 then, right?
Well, I mean, we're not paying. If nobody recruited somebody, they just organically found the place. We're not going to pay anybody.
But you see what I'm saying? It's just I can see where it works, and it does make sense to track, but I don't know. It's just I'm more like curious if it's actually going to work the way it's supposed to work.
Me too.
This is a replacement of the ad campaign.
No, it would be supplementary.
Okay.
Ideally, it is wildly successful and we can reduce the funding of ads, but right now, let's just say at a $5 a person price point, that is cheaper than what it takes through the ads. If we truly get somebody who's made it through onboarding and shows up to a session, so they've at least attended once, that getting somebody to that point costs more than $5 right now through ads.
I think it's worth trying. Maybe test run it for the month of July, and then stop the program and see, or if you can do the data during the month. You don't have to necessarily stop it. Kind of see where things are, and if it's been successful, or it's worth it.
Okay. I still got some field testing to do with the bot, but I can circle back once we feel like it's in a good spot. We can reliably track. You guys understand your admin commands. We understand how to investigate if people are doing it. Well, the one thing is, do you think people should just be able to do it themselves? And if the recruit says yes, no, or does that purely need to be an administrative / automated function?
maybe I happen to have.
Automated just as long as the bot does its job and does it right.
We just audited it at the end of the month. Yeah, do an audit at the end of the month.
Yeah.
Okay. So, all right, next item, roundtable. We got not a lot of time left, so let's Call of Duty, Battlefield, Frontier. If we get started in that order, if you guys just a little, how are things going in your family?
Things are stable over here. Haven't really experienced much growth, but we haven't really lost anyone either. We did onboard a few people. They showed up for a few sessions and they just kind of disappeared. So I think we're going to work on trying to get those folks re-engaged. We have a pretty stable attendance rate. That is to say, not high, but consistent. And we're just waiting for the next Battlefield to come out. There's been a lot of chatter about it. Supposedly it's supposed to come out in October or November. Again, we've been with this game for 4 years, and it was not a polished game from the very beginning. So we're really crossing our fingers here. We know that DICE wants to not compete with GTA, so they're probably going to try to release in October, November. Even though the game probably needs more time to develop based off of the alpha testing right now, but that's what we're waiting on. I think we're just kind of hanging on for the next title, and hopefully we'll be more optimistic looking forward.
Gotcha. Okay. Call of Duty.
We're moving along slowly, surely. Our attendance percentage is just redundant to me. I did an audit of pretty much both crews and figured out a percentage from the total sessions in June, and we were sitting at 45% attended, 38 excused, and 17% unexcused. And to me, those numbers are just, I don't know, an eyesore. And I spoke to my crew leaders about it. We're trying to work to at least achieve 50% or better for this month. It's, for us, it's hit and miss. We gained a few people, and things are looking positive to a certain extent. Other than that, I'm actually looking to outside are just relying on the ads and stuff like that. I'm actually looking at other platforms in order to get exposure from the gaming and those consensus to try to build to get more people in and and get those that we get in active. I don't want people that's like, okay, I'm in, and then ghost. That doesn't do. I mean, granted, it helps the numbers overall, but it doesn't do COD as a whole any good if they're not going to be active. And that's our biggest issue is activity.
And you don't think there's anything you can do about that because it's just the game, right?
Part of it's the game, because we're entering into basically the dead horse feeding time from now until Black Ops 7 comes around. So, and that's the only thing we can do. We can just keep pushing forward, trying to recruit people. I've been with the crews and stuff like that. We do try to recruit in game, but it's zero success. I mean, we've tried old school tactics. We've tried anything and everything. And COD is one of those games that it's extremely difficult to recruit. It can be done, but it is so difficult in this day and age.
Gotcha. Go ahead, sorry. Somebody?
Other than that, on the back end, we're just grinding along as best we can.
Okay. Frontier?
She struggled best. Really swampy, a lot of stagnation, not a whole lot of growth right now, which is kind of a running theme, it seems, across the board for the most part. We definitely would like to see some more.
You're on Pathfinder.
No, we don't need that. One of the things that we do have a issue with is just managing to get crews formed to where we can get people into them when they express interest. Like it has been pointed out, multiple people have joined saying that they want to play Fortnite, and then when we actually already, like, we have one person join, we don't have another person yet, so we have to wait, the next person joins, and by the time we have the next person, the previous person has gone, and it's a struggle just getting the crews together, getting the people to expand their horizons into new games, to make new crews. It's definitely a work in progress. I have a feeling that at some point we have to face a very real discussion that we're probably not ready to have of whether or not the structure that we have is cohesive as the gaming community as a whole, and if we may need to look at shifting to an idea of the crew system being part of the community, not the basis of the community, and maybe we end up having a community where there's a bunch of people that aren't necessarily in a crew, but are here just to play games when they can. That's something to discuss down the line, but we are still working to get people, playing together as best we can. I'm always looking for more, input, more suggestions. If anyone has any, then please feel free to bring them to me. I won't shoot them down immediately. If you have an idea of something that might help build us up, let me know. And please, dear God, if anyone is interested in taking on a leadership role, if anyone is interested in doing anything else revolving around the community as a whole, let us know. Anyone is able to put their name forward and say, hey, I would love to be involved in something relating to the social media. I would love to be involved in something related to advertising. If you think that that's something you would like to do and you'd like to give it a try, let us know so that we can pass that on and the leadership can talk about it to see if we can get you in a position, because we need help. Across the board, we need help. So, Zylo, add things?
I think you hit the nail on the head. I think the big thing is just, keeping the community involved and engaged, and seeing people kind of take hold of their destiny. Mystic is talking about these leadership roles. One of the problems that we run into with crew development is, like, there are people who are willing to kind of put their name onto the crew, but then there's no one who's willing to take on the minor administrative responsibilities, like as a capo or a Goomba. It's not a lot of work, guys. If there's a game that you're interested in, reach out to us and we'll walk you through it. We'll help you. Let's get some games started. Let's set some foundations for people to have fun. That's what I have to say.
Actually brings me back to something I should have put on the agenda. There's another function of the bot we were talking about implementing where essentially we would let crews opt in or opt out. And how it says at BK's 30 minutes to your session. We could say something as like at Call of Duty, at Battlefield, at Marvel Rivals, whatever. This crew is playing in 30 minutes. If anybody wants to join them, if they have free space, please do so. I mean, we could automate some notifications like that for the crews that are willing to, that want to opt in. Would that be something helpful?
Yes.
As long as it's not spamming people. That's the big thing, is you keep it from being too intrusive, right? But
I would just do it when there's a session, like at game session in 15 minutes or whatever.
I'm fine with that. I mean, maybe I'll wake some of the sleepy heads in COD up in the morning, like with crews and stuff. So. I mean, you got a I don't know, 1,000 decibel alarm to jar their phones out of their hands or whatnot, give them that alert, and I'm all in for it.
I don't, but I can do an at game, so.
I think at the end of the day, so long as we need it in public view that there is activity, people will come if they see activity. So having these LFGs is a good like shock paddle, because people come here because they want a game. So if we're tagging, all these, and Hobo and I had a discussion about this the other night. If we're able to tag, the games that these people are playing, they're going to start showing up and interacting, and I think that's largely the end goal. Is we've got to invest a little bit in our LFG, because right now it's kind of cobwebs.
Epsi just said so much more intricately than I could have ever. He says this way with words. But yeah, I fully believe that recruiting is the symptom, right? The cause is playing the game, right? So if we are on and showing activity, we've got people that are in voice chats all the time. 568 people, we should have somebody in voice chat most of the day. So I do think that recruiting is a symptom. So, wanted to touch on that. And also, I wanted to troll Chef for a little bit. What you just said sounded like the most old man thing ever. Well, if I can get these youngsters to put their phone down and get off of TikTok and their Instagram face, and it made me laugh for a minute. But yeah, it's all good.
But it's true. It's true.
It is. It's fine. I have teenagers at home. I understand.
It's so true. I mean, I don't know what else to do, but it's just, I haven't gave up, but it's just like, okay, when we have, I don't know, say 100 people with the Call of Duty role, but we only have 20 total active members, I sit here and scratch my head going, okay. And I reach out to them via DM and no replies from none of them. And it's just like, I'm like, okay, they're here, they're part of the community, but are they really part of the community?
Gotcha.
If that makes sense. I mean, I don't get it. They come, they join, but that's it. They're not really part of the community. They're not being involved in the community. In a way, it's like, to me, it seems like it's a waste of space.
It's not necessarily a waste of space. We have to have something for them to jump into. They need to be able to see the activity. And I think originally that was my point, is if we have these channels constantly tagging, saying, this crew's going out to wreck mayhem and, whatever game, or we have these community nights of random games. We could just look at all the tickets and see what games people are playing and have that set up, where we're tagging those games and drawing those people in, and maybe engage them a little bit more and create a crew or something. Or just get them to interact. At the end of the day, we're all here to game. It doesn't have to be super administrative.
I understand that. It's just, I'm down for whatever we can do to get more people active. I mean, that at the end of the day, that's what we're here for, to play games with each other. I mean, it's just, I guess we can beat the dead horse some more to try to drum up more interest on certain avenues and stuff like that, but,
Well, it won't hurt, and I think demonstrating activity, as Epsi and Typical said, it's going to be a positive. So I'll get to work on that.
Well, and as far as another avenue that's been brought up quite a bit in chat is TikTok. We do not have a TikTok, correct?
No.
Is that something
I could make one.
that's...
I just don't TikTok. So who's going to put content on there?
Yeah, I don't own TikTok, and I don't plan on it, but someone like Typical, who is old but hip, I guess, in a way, because of his children, might be able to do something with that.
I don't think it's old media. I have a Facebook from 2005. I don't even know the password to.
Well, we can solicit if we could find one person or people to generate content. Even if it's just people submitting clips of gameplay, then I'd be down. I just don't know what we're gonna put on there.
Change my minds.
There you go.
Oh.
That would be a great TikTok.
But that shouldn't be all that it is. It should probably showcase some of our gameplay and gaming.
That is something that we were talking about a little bit over the last night or so. I would love to see us get a group together, not necessarily a crew, but to get some people together to play on Twitch, to record content, to put on YouTube, to put on TikTok, to put on Instagram, so that we can show people out there, like, hey, we play games. Here's us playing games. Does it sound like fun? Come join us. Come play games. I would love to see if we can get some more interest in that, so that we can get that ball rolling, because I feel like, as a gaming community, putting advertisements and such out there, yeah, that's great, but if we actually put gaming out there, put gameplay, put, the examples of what we do when we are playing with each other, I think that would actually help drive some people to us in general.
You could mix them too. It doesn't have to always be something that you're just standing up and talking. You could have a change my mind session while we're playing Call of Duty. Mm-hmm. Which, I don't know if you guys know this, but humor sells 100% of the time. 100% of the time. People like funny streamers. They do the best.
And I like them.
I'm not going to go into the other demographics, right? But, I mean, if you're a streamer, have something unique, right?
Well, that's me out, because I'm not funny.
I'm sure you can tell some funny stories. Funny stories about, like, your time in the military. People love those stories, right? Funny things like change my mind, right? Is a hot dog a sandwich? No, it's not. But, things like that. While you're playing a game, or while you're going through a highlight reel, something of that nature. And to follow up on your question, Mystic, how many serious streamers do you have? And I mean by, like, serious, like they're affiliated, or they're partnered. Like, do we have anyone of that?
Do I have?
Do we have
nobody?
Is the goal to have affiliated streamers, or is it to show that we have an active community with people who are having fun? Because I'd argue that that's what we want to promote, not necessarily become a streaming platform.
Right. I'm not trying to be the next PewDiePie and such. I'm saying I think that is an avenue that perfectly syncs up with what we're trying to promote, being, a gaming community, that it would make sense for us to get some people together, however it would be, but that's the finer details that can be hammered out. But just to get some people together to play, to make content, so that people from outside the community can see that content and then say, oh, hey, that looks like fun. They're part of this gaming community. Maybe I should join. I could have fun too.
That's not what I'm. Maybe I misspoke. But I'm not saying that we need to have somebody that's got an average 500 viewers per hour. I'm asking if we have someone with a serious platform that has an outreach that we could maybe lean on. If you guys knew of anyone.
We have several people that do stream. I mean, we have FFS. We have a whole channel dedicated to streaming And
you brought up that you would like a streaming crew, so I thought maybe you had at least a few people that were,
No.
Okay. All right.
This is literally something I've just been like thinking myself, and like started broaching the conversation with Hobo and Xylo last night, just as we were playing, and we were sitting there, we were playing Warhammer Darktide, and we were having fun, and it kind of led to the conversation of, hey, this is the type of stuff, like just hanging out, having fun, playing the game, discussing whatever we're talking about. This is the type of content that I think people could relate to and be like, oh, that looks like fun. I would like to join too, and have people to talk to, because it's 2025 and I'm a Zillennial and I haven't learned how to make human interaction because people scare me face to face, so I'm more comfortable talking to people through a headset. And there's nothing wrong with that.
See, Jeff? That's what we're talking about.
All right. Well,
Yeah.
community team H, can you track that for us and just it's not on you, but we have somebody to track the action item. We'll try to get some people to stream something sometime.
That's good.
Okay. Then anything else from the community team or council?
We are going to have our next community game night Friday the 18th. So not this coming Friday, but the following one. 8 o'clock, so it'll be right after the onboarding session. Probably just do some Jackbox parties, so that way it's fluid as far as how many people join and for how long.
Could we set a poll? Could we make a poll to have people vote on what we play?
Yeah, we can.
That just becomes difficult when people vote and then don't show, is the only issue.
Wrecked.
So that's why Jackbox is simple, because there's a million different games that they can play in that.
But we could, is what I'm hearing.
I can make a poll. We have bots that do that.
I was just thinking, like, if we have a poll to where people can recommend, like, hey, this is a game and it's, like, free or cheap, etc., and, just a thought. It's just a thought.
Do y'all want to vote on voting?
Jackbox is always a perfectly great fallback, and like I even said to Hobo last night, with regards to like the idea of the playing games with the new blood that we're bringing in during the onboarding session, we have the ability now to play the browser edge games in the Discord itself. So it's not like we don't have a way to play games together and like there's not free games. So
Okay. What's your next community game night?
July 18th at 8 o'clock Eastern.
Okay, we'll announce that, get the event set up.
Make a poll for Mystic.
Sorry to rush this along. We're a little over.
No, you're fine.
Anything else on the community game night?
No.
Okay.
Kryptonian, you'll have to send me Goose Sucker again. I forget. That's a bonus, I think, but send me that because I don't remember. I'm old. I'm responding to chat.
I'm looking for the... What's the name of the role you get when you donate your whatever, sponsor the server?
Booster? Server booster?
Yeah. Let me find that. So I can run through our shout-outs. There we go. Okay. So, Apsy, Commander Pappy, Mystic, Savage, Osnick, Only Use a Frag, and Xylo. Thanks for nitro boosting the server, keeping us up at level 3. Anybody have any other shout-outs?
I would just personally like to shout out Xylo. I have said it multiple times, but Xylo has been a godsend with Frontier and helping with all of the onboarding and just everything, like handling all of the administration stuff. I am so glad to have an outfit head that is just willing to work with me and able to deal with my spotty attendance. And I thank you.
Make me blush, man. I'm glad to be here.
The biggest accomplishment, you put up with Mystic's Mystic. So.
Yep.
Oh, that's what he was gonna say. but then he didn't, and I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah, he went with spotty attendance, swing and a miss. But
Yeah, that's not what I would have praised you for.
well, and I also thank the leadership team that we have here. Gaming Chef holding Call of Duty together. Same for you, Enigma, keeping Battlefield going despite the game. So, blessed with a pretty good leadership team. I appreciate all of you guys. Pretty happy with where we're at. Anything else before we close out? Sweet.
Game together, okay?
Heck yeah.
Negative. Moving on.
All right, later.
I wanted you to say that, but I was like, I won't call you out on it.